And a recent trip to Boston, I got the opportunity to work with a group of amputees all learning to run. In that process, I developed these 5 drills that were wildly successful in the day. Since I've come back, I've spent a lot of time developing and working on how I'm coaching these drills, but B, what they are, what they need to be, and then have tested them on over 100 people now. The feedback has been incredibly positive, so I wanted to make a longer video explaining these 5 drills that I use to teach 30 amputees how to run in under 20 minutes. Drill number 1, I just call it tiny circles. And all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to draw tiny circles with the front half of my foot. What a lot of us misunderstand about our running gait is that most of the work is done in the back half. If our foot's gonna move in a circle, and we're gonna think of it like that, the very circular pattern that we move in. We've got a tendency to focus on this portion where we're lifting and raising, but really where the action comes is on the back half of that circle. It's like almost like I'm gonna slide my foot. It's a very literal and over-exaggerated version of what we're doing, but that's the basic idea. It's almost like we're just dragging our heel up the wall. We want to feel our hamstring. And this tiny circle drill is basically our running gait taken into a very small form, and our goal is control. Our goal is to be able to control this small circle as consistently and as well as we can. So here are my primary cues that I think of on this one. 1, it's small steps. I'm just stepping right over my toes. 2, I'm focusing on my heel, not the front half of my leg, and I'm trying to feel this back half of the leg, the hamstring. So now I'm just going to go ahead and knock this out. So these are tiny circles. On the tiny circles, like I said, I'm really trying to feel the way I'm pulling my foot through versus getting my foot in front. And what we learn with this one is that we're going to do a good job just naturally of getting that foot to the ground. What we don't do as naturally is pull it through. So a lot of these drills are really emphasized on feeling the back half of the body and how that contributes to our most efficient running gait. Drill number 2. I just call it tuck and hop. So what we're working on is the 2 basic shapes of our running, which is here and here. So in this drill, I talked about in the first one, how I almost want to feel like we're dragging our heel like against the wall behind us. In this drill, I'm going to get a little more aggressive with that, and I'm going to work on pulling my heel into my butt. It's not going to literally get there, especially on this side, but I want to be very active in this, and that little hop and skip is going to do 2 things for us. Number 1, it gets us comfortable and builds time under tension in this tucked position. The second piece it does is it helps us get strong and being stable on one leg. So, tuck and hop. 2. So in this drill, like I said, we get a lot of that comfort. And the other thing that I've started to learn, and a lot of other athletes have given me feedback in, is they start to understand that the foot, and specifically the heel, is the last thing they're trying to bring through. So this drill also helps develop some patience. So as I'm getting ready to pull this, I think about the heel being the last thing that's going to come forward. And as I develop that control and awareness, I can then apply that to my running stride. It's why these drills become so important, especially as a newer runner, somebody who hasn't run in a while, or somebody that's simply for the first time trying to focus on the technique of their running. Drill number 3. Again, none of these names are super technical, and they all probably exist somewhere with a much cooler name, but it's just gonna be, I call it a straight leg pull. So we've all probably done some sort of straight leg march of that realm. If you're watching this video, you've probably done that. high school gym, middle school, something of that nature. The difference here is I'm putting zero effort and emphasis in the raise of the leg. I'm very actively trying to pull the leg back down. And in fact, as you get these steps going, you're not going to see a big spread. I'm going to pull it back into the other leg with a straight leg. This is a really good way to develop a feel for your hamstrings. And again, to continue to get your body and your brain working towards operating that way. So again, the biggest thing to note here is that the action is pulling it down, not lifting it up. It's really easy to get over aggressive there, and that takes over the drill and we lose a lot of the benefit. So our straight leg pull, boom. You can get the arms going if you want. It's pretty individual. But again, I'm pulling from the bottom of my foot. I'm thinking about pulling, I'm thinking about pulling from right here down to the floor on this drill. That is where I make my money on this one. And again, we get more acquainted with what it truly feels like to have our hamstring going. A lot of people will talk about these things, and where I found deficiencies in the drills that I was looking up or the videos I was trying to find, especially as an amputee trying to learn to run, is people want to describe what it looked like versus what it felt like. I'm not watching myself run, I'm feeling myself run. So are you. So that's really where I'm trying to get at with all these drills, is how do we feel what we're trying to do. Drill number 4. Now we are going to put our last 2 drills together. Tuck, reach, pull. So this one gets done pretty individual as you start to develop as an athlete. We continue to develop our stability on our down leg as we get into these tucked positions and we take time. But then we start to learn and understand our order of operations. I talked earlier about how the heel comes first, or the opposite of that. The heel comes last. This is where we can kind of really start to understand and start to feel that now. So I recommend everybody starts off with this very segmented tuck, reach, pull. But as we get more comfortable, it might become a little more fluid. So again, starting off, 1, 2, 3. I recommend everybody starts here. But as we get more comfortable, we can get a little bit more fluid action going, and we start bridging the gap from drills to live running, and then live running under fatigue. Drill number 5. So this is the hardest one. That's why it's last. All of these drills, the ones that you find the most challenging to feel and find the way I'm describing, probably highlights the fact that that is our biggest or current, or is a deficiency that we have. Our money's made by figuring it out, not working around it. In the long term, it is much better to just go ahead and get these things figured out than it is to try to work around it simply for the sake of distance, of this, or that. Again, I hope that our goal is to be able to do this for a long time, so we have to set our foundation with our technique. So this one right here, I talked about earlier, there's 2 basic positions in running. Here and here. So now we're gonna work on trading positions. Ideally, I'm gonna go nowhere. A lot of times when I have people working together or I'm working with someone, I'll put my hands like on the top of their head, like right here, or on their shoulders, because the biggest thing we wanna make sure we're not doing is we're not jumping. We are not hopping side to side. We don't want that elevation. We wanna trade legs. So I'm gonna go tuck position, long position, one here. And from the side, again, you'll see that the action is driving down and that tuck at the same time. The other thing you'll notice is I'm not trying to do this. Again, our game here is control. These drills should be all about control. So as we start running, as we get into a live scenario, we develop the ability to A, be aware of what we're doing, and B, we develop our ability to adjust. Again, we learn what it's supposed to feel like. Fatigue doesn't change what it's supposed to feel like. It changes how difficult it is to get it right. But again, that's part of the challenge of running. It's what a lot of people gain from running is their ability to endure, to maintain their effort at higher levels of fatigue. That doesn't happen if we don't have some conscious aspect of how we're moving. So again, the other thing I'll do in this is, you notice, I pause. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. And as I do that and I develop control and stability, I truly learn how to do the action, not just how to make it look a certain way. Going fast, I can make a bunch of mistakes, I can hop, and I can basically look like I'm running. Or I can treat it like a skill, which will allow me to keep growing and growing and growing. And the only difference between this drill and actually running is leaning forward. So it's literally, and I'll just lean forward. So these are the 5 running drills that I use to teach all those amputees in Boston, that has continued to work for me teaching other able-bodied and adaptive athletes. I hope these helped. I hope that it gave you maybe a different perspective than what you've been able to find. That was a lot of my goal here, is I'm trying to make content and instruction that fills the gaps in from what I couldn't find when I was trying to learn this stuff. So I hope this helped. Leave questions in the comments. Thank you so much. If you clicked on this video, I appreciate you watching. If you're a newer runner, returning to running, coming back off an injury, anything of that nature, be on the lookout, because I've got a beginner's runner program coming out. I just finished up checkpoint number 1. This program is going to be designed for anyone trying to either develop technique, start running in the first place, anywhere in that spectrum. This program is going to be for you. And the idea is it's going to set a base to do any other sort of running you may want to do. So again, be on the lookout for that. Thanks, guys.